Английская грамматика, часть 66, основные неправильные глаголы, 28-30, примеры предложений. Итак, bring – приносить, формы bring, brought, brought, bring, brought, brought. Он принес это мне. He brought it to me. He brought it to me. He brought it to me. Далее. She brought me. Она принесла мне стакан сока. She brought me a glass. She brought me a glass of juice. She brought me a glass of juice. Далее. They brought us. Они принесли нам. They brought us our presents. Наши подарки. They brought us our presents. А следующий неправильный глагол write. Формы write, wrote, written. Write, wrote, written. Write, wrote, written. Я написал письмо. I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to her. Я написал ей письмо. I wrote a letter to her. Далее. Я записал это. Записывать фраза write down или по-другому фразовый глагол. I wrote it down. I wrote it down. Я записал это. I wrote it down. Next. Я написал сообщение. I wrote a message. I wrote a message. Я написал сообщение. Read переводится как читать. Read, read, read. Read, read, read. Мы с вами видим, что пишется одинаково, а вот произношение разное. Read, read, read. I read, я прочел. I read this book. Я прочел эту книгу. I read this book. I read a very interesting book. Я прочел очень интересную книгу. I read a very interesting book. He read. Он читал эту историю. He read this story или этот рассказ. He read this story. Окей? Мы с вами проверим и повторим. Bring, brought, brought. Write, wrote, written. Read, read, read. Examples. He brought it to me. She brought me a glass of juice. They brought us our presents. I wrote a letter to her. I wrote it down. I wrote a message. I read this book. I read a very interesting book. He read this story.